Hey guys, welcome back to the Holderhek channel. Today we're going to be going over lightning weaving and the utilization of this specific weak aura, which is going to be how you sync and stagger your weapons and how you lightning weave. Upon looking at this the first time, I can totally understand how it would be very, very overwhelming, and why a lot of people that I've talked to have just said they're going to completely ignore this mechanic and just shoot out lightning bolts or chain lightning at 5 maelstrom stacks. Which, you know, is valid if you want to play the game in a casual way. Like, I have nothing against that playstyle. It's just not what I want to do, and I feel like if you're here, it's also what you don't want to do as well. So I'm going to try to explain this in the easiest possible way to understand. I'm going to make all of these moving bars and colors and ticks and lines and numbers make as much sense as possible, and then I hope you leave the video just realizing all it's going to take is a little bit of practice, and maybe by Ulduar you'll be good at it. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to go over is just the syncing and staggering of your weapons and why that's important. Back in the Burning Crusade, I made an entire video about this. It was one of the cornerstones of enhancement DPS, and like 90% of what I said in that video is still true, so I'm going to link it so you can watch it. It's just, in Burning Crusade, we had to worry about offhand Wind Fury strikes. That's not a problem anymore. Syncing and staggering is still very important, though, because the premise of it is you want to have your weapons in lockstep, or 0.5 seconds apart with the main hand leading, because that allows you to only consume one charge of flurry every time you attack instead of like 2. So you're going to be doing proportionately more DPS, and it's pretty important. It's fairly easy to do. There's a macro that you can spam as you're getting ready to engage the mob that will give you a fairly substantial percentage chance to actually just do this and not even have to think about it. And then if you get into attacking the mob and it's not synced or staggered, you will have a red offhand tick here on the bar. So then what you would do is you want to make sure your swing timer is about 50% of the way through the bar. At that point, you would hit the macro to lockstep them or stagger them in a preferable way. If that doesn't work, you can always just keep hitting the macro, and the weak aura itself will update, letting you know where your offhand is, so you can place it in the stagger zone after 1 or 2 hits. Obviously this is suboptimal, and I'm sure you lose 66.66% repeating, of course, like offhand swing time or something, but at the end of the day, as long as you're only consuming 1 flurry charge with every 2 hits, you're probably okay, and you can always get better at this later. There are other clunkier ways to do this, like using your wolves in melee range or drinking a noggin fogger, but I find this macro to be very good, and I've been using it for almost 2 years now, and so since I'm the person teaching you how to do this, you're gonna do it my way. So the macro's linked below, the other video is also linked below, and this is just a little bit more detail of what's going on, what it would look like in game. You can see here, this is when your weapons are not synced and not staggered, so this is the worst. This is when they're staggered, but your offhand is leading, so you'll see that yellow tick right there that represents your offhand. This is staggered with the main hand leading, which is pretty good. And then this is when they're synced or they're together, so just one green line. That makes it the easiest to lightning bolt weave. Okay, now we're on the main purpose of the video, which is going to be lightning bolt and chain lightning weaving. If you don't know what that is yet, weird. But if you don't know what that is yet, it's fine. So what you're essentially trying to do is you're going to be shooting out a lightning bolt or a chain lightning before the next auto attack melee swing you have. That is the entire purpose of this weak aura and what we're trying to talk about today. So if you do it correctly, you're going to be able to get free casts of either of those spells in between your swings, which allows you to do way more damage, right? Like 20% more damage. It's pretty difficult, but here we are. When you download this weak aura, you can immediately put it into tutorial mode via a toggle. I think that's very useful. It will show you the stagger zone, which is what we were talking about earlier with syncing and staggering. It will also label the ticks on the bar with each individual spell and your main hand and offhand. You can see here on this very useful graphic that you essentially have this entire space to cast your spell before one of these 2 ticks, so you can successfully cast that spell before your next swing. So if you're properly synced and staggered, either your main hand and offhand are staggered like in this image, or they're in lockstep, so there's just one bar, you're going to want to cast your spell at any point here before this line touches one of these lines. It can go here for chain lightning, it has to go here for lightning bolt. In practice, it will look like this. So he casts the spell right here, and then that is a successful cast. He's able to get off the spell and then attack. And you'll do that over and over and over again. Eventually, you'll be pretty good at it. Now, if you mess up, it takes whatever spell you're casting and then makes that blink red, so you know to cancel that cast and try again. Very simple in practice. All you're trying to do is cast before your main hand gets to one of these lines. It's just the bullet hell of trying to do that during your 14-button whack-a-mole rotation while stuff is moving around and the ground is on fire. So once again, it's just going to require a lot of practice, but in theory, very simple as a concept. Now I will show you how to do it. Okay, so guys, for a demo, I'm just gonna utilize the undying mobs outside the dark portal. I'll have a little bit of time after they go invulnerable for them to basically be a training dummy. I could use the training dummies on the beta, but I'm not a beta, so I'm not gonna use the beta. It's just a rule I have. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna have a little bit of time to show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll go from there. So you can see automatically, if I'm running in, right, I'm just gonna be spamming this macro. Well, first I'm gonna the level 50. Do I kill the level 58 priest, guys? Oh, it would be so easy. I'm trying to make a video. Okay, so we're gonna run in and we're gonna be spamming this macro to try to see if we can just get the thing synced right off the bat, right? Okay, so it's not. So I'm gonna put that right there in the stagger zone, so we're good. And then now I can utilize my 4 maelstrom stacks to do that. It's fairly easy in practice, guys. There's another one. It's just doing this, you know, with your full rotation is going to be a little bit more difficult. But once again, I feel like most of us will have this done by, you know, Ulduar or something. It's not going to be that big of a deal, and who cares, because Nax is a joke. So you can see there, every time I've just done a bunch of successful weaves. It's a hell of a lot easier to do this at 4 stacks than it is at 2 or 3, but you can definitely do it at 3. And I would say one of the big brain moves, and this is totally something that I've recently made up in my head, but it almost seems like you can be predictive with this, where it's like, you know, you're about to get a 3rd or a 4th stack, and after you use this weak aura long enough, you kind of get an idea of, you know, where the ticks are going to be, so it'll be a hell of a lot easier to do it. But you know, you just kind of like predict, like, oh, I have a 3, so now very much at the beginning of my next ability there, I'll be able to throw out the spell. And then sometimes, you know, you're gonna be doing storm strikes, you're gonna be getting wind furies. This thing is PPM, it's not accurate all the time, so you could go from 1 stack to 5 stacks immediately, and then you just got to throw that thing out. Like, that could happen, right? So now I just want to screw up, just so you guys can see how you'd fix that. You'll see, watch the red tick here, right? So let me just, there, that screwed it up, so my stagger zone was messed up. So there, see how that moves? So what happened there was I clipped my melee swing, and so that is bad. You basically don't want to do that, right? So we want to either do a little sidestep or do a stop attack macro to fix that. But that's really it, guys. That's really it. It's not that complicated. So see, that was a screw up, and you can go from there. Hey guys, so that's gonna be it for the video. I just wanted to make something easy to digest and understand. I've spoken to so many people who are just completely overwhelmed by this concept, and while I do realize it's got a pretty high skill ceiling and being very good at it is going to be rare, I do think most of us can come to a baseline understanding of what we're supposed to be doing, so we can potentially practice as much as needed to be, you know, 80-90% with this thing. I don't think it's that impossible, and I just hope that this video was explained simply enough for that to happen. You want to check out more, you can always hit me up on Twitch. I stream forever, all the time. We just hit partner on there too, so that's pretty cool. We'll be doing a, I don't know, I want to say 72-hour live stream for the launch of Wrath, but who knows if I'll actually be able to do that, but I'm gonna try, so you can maybe watch me fall asleep on my keyboard. That'll be fun, right? I'll catch you guys next time. I want to do another video for just the rotation itself, because I feel like the rotation's somewhat difficult too. So expect that next week, question mark? Sure, expect that next week. I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!